Hey guys, it's Stanley. We are back in San Francisco. Today, I'm gonna make 2 videos about sitcoms from the 1980s that were set and partially filmed in the city by the bay. So you're gonna wanna hit subscribe to see that second video. This first video is about a house that's getting too cramped. No, it's not Full House, it's Too Close for Comfort. Too Close for Comfort aired for 6 seasons from 1980 through 1987. Well, technically it aired for 5 seasons, but more on that later. And even though I was a wee little lad, I remember watching this show for 2 distinct reasons. The 2 hot daughters. In fact, with the Sarah character alone, I can think of 2 reasons I remember this show. Now I want a latte. The first shot you see in Too Close for Comfort was filmed across the Golden Gate Bridge at the Golden Gate Vista Point. But for some reason today it's closed. I've never seen that before. But thankfully, I was here in 2022 filming this video about John Lennon and Yoko Ono in San Francisco, and they were looking at the Golden Gate Bridge from the exact same spot as in Too Close for Comfort. And in that opening shot, the camera starts at the base of the bridge and zooms out, showing the height of the bridge. And here's my recreation of that with the 2022 footage. Then the Too Close for Comfort crew zoomed into downtown San Francisco. I don't have a shot from this angle in my archive, but here it is in current day from Google Maps. The only major change to the skyline is the Salesforce Tower, which was not there in 1980. Okay, let's get back across the bay to some locations we can actually visit. Then, the opening credits cut to a cable car going up this hill, up this street, which is California Street, going past the Stanford Court luxury apartments. Besides the trees growing in and a coat of paint, it looks nearly identical. This wasn't too hard to find. There's only 3 cable car lines in San Francisco, so I just searched all the lines until I found this building. The Stanford is just across the street from the luxurious Fairmont Hotel. And the Fairmont Hotel is just across the street from an Alfred Hitchcock location. This is the apartment complex that Madeline comes out of in Hitchcock's classic Vertigo. I will do a full in-depth filming location video on Vertigo someday, but that is going to be a lot of work and a lot of editing. Let's just say it's too complicated for comfort right now. Then we see another cable car going down California Street about 3 blocks from where we were, going past the Masonic Grand Lodge. It's a Masonic Temple. And trying to recreate this shot without getting ran over by a motorcycle or a car is no small feat. Nope, we're not getting inside here. You gotta be a Freemason. In order to be a Freemason, from what I read online, you have to be at least 18 years old, you have to believe in a supreme being, and you gotta pay your yearly dues, so I guess not so free after all. The all-seeing eye. That's a little creepy. I believe you also have to be big fans of Jackie Mason and Perry Mason. They're all about masonry here. I think this is where they also make mason jars. Don't quote me on it. Oh. If you've never parked 90 degrees on a very steep incline, you are missing out on one of the most terrifying things you will ever experience. It feels like your car is gonna flip over. I'm like Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal. Okay, no more goofing around. Our biggest location is coming up. And this is the location that most people probably think of. Here is the duplex, where things got too close for comfort. Without its distinct reddish-orange color, you would probably drive right past it, and this tree doesn't help. And the house next door, that's the same house, just heavily remodeled. Those two upper windows are the same, but as you can see from the side view, this house has been heavily altered. Depending on the scene, you would get a different angle of the house. This tree out front now is really getting in the way. Sometimes the camera would push into the upper right window, revealing the Rush's master bedroom. Other times it would oddly show the living room. And today you have to shoot underneath this tree to see those windows. They even filmed a nighttime shot right here. In the first episode, the downstairs tenant named Rafkin, he dies. And the Rush's two adult daughters, Jackie and Sarah, become the new tenants of the bottom half of the duplex. Hence the name, Too Close for Comfort, and hijinks ensue. We find out in that first episode that the downstairs tenant Rafkin who died, he liked to dress up in women's clothing. We're in San Francisco after all.
Talk about a family resemblance.
That's no resemblance, that's Rafkin in drag.
But this was the early 1980s, long before transgenderism was a thing, so Sarah calls him a transvestite.
He was a transvestite, how exciting!
It was a simpler time. A big shakeup happens at the end of season 3. Somehow Muriel is pregnant. Yes, Henry, who I thought was in his late 60s, gets her pregnant.
Henry, I don't know how to tell you this. I'm pregnant.
But in episode 1, Henry reveals that his age is 51. 51? But hey, more power to him. This is long before any little blue pill. That's impressive. So in season 3, episode 1, Muriel goes into labor. And Monroe, the chef and housekeeper character, he takes Muriel to the hospital. And what's awesome is they brought Jim J. Bullock and Nancy Dussault out here to San Francisco to film this brief little scene. That large white apartment complex is still there. It's partially hidden behind all the trees on this road now. I feel like there's too many trees on this road now. Then they emerge at the corner of Powell and California Street. Here's what it looks like on Google Maps. To save time, I wasn't able to line up the next two shots in person. And that building off in the distance behind them, that's the Stanford Court that we were at earlier. Then it cuts to a shot a couple of blocks down the road at the corner of Stockton in California. Notice the building behind them has these small rectangular windows or vents. And that building is still there, and there are those rectangular windows or vents. And they're looking straight down California Street from that exact angle at Stockton in California. So there's the building with those little rectangular windows. That building on the left is still there, and the Chinese-style building is also still there. Eventually, they make it to a hospital. I don't know if this hospital was in San Francisco at one time or if it was in Los Angeles, but I couldn't find it by the time I left for San Francisco. Either way, they get to the hospital, and spoiler alert, she has a boy. So for Season 4, Episode 1, they created a new opening credit clip. The Rushes taking their new baby boy out for a stroll. They could have just tried to recreate that on a back lot, but I love the effort they took to come out to San Francisco to refilm those scenes. At the end of Season 5, the show was retooled and the daughters were dropped from the cast. Who's the tool who thought of that? And the Rushes moved across the bay to Mill Valley, California. And the Ted Knight Show was born. It was a direct continuation of the series. But when the show ended after that first season and it went into syndication, it officially became Too Close for Comfort Season 6. The intro to Season 6 starts with the camera crew out in the harbor looking back at the Golden Gate Bridge. To get a very similar view, you can go to Cliff Street in Tiburon. Here it is on Google Maps. I don't have time to go all the way to Tiburon right now. But if you go to Cliff Street, you can get a very similar view. Then the camera pans to the right, and you see the city of Sausalito. And that building there in the background is this building right here. Then from the seaside town of Sausalito, it fades into the Mill Valley city limit sign. And this is the Mill Valley city limit sign as seen in the Season 6 opening credits, showing that the Rushes moved to Mill Valley. Now, I'm not sure if they moved this Mill Valley city limit sign a little bit farther down for this shot. I'm using a 20mm fixed lens, so there's no way I'm gonna get the background as big as whichever camera they used that day when they were filming this. But if I walk 20 feet down the road, you can see we're in the right location. There's the one-way sign, there's the crosswalk. That's Mount Tamalpais in the background. We are in the correct location. The next location was filmed in downtown Mill Valley. I am in downtown Mill Valley. I've never been here before. Let's see what downtown Mill Valley has to offer. They have a tavern, they have a tea shop, they celebrate African American history, they have tight alleyways, they have antique stores. They better have a mill here, like a sawmill or a windmill or a miller's outpost. If not, that's false advertising. But most importantly for us, they still have the clock tower and the buildings that you see in the Season 6 opening to Too Close for Comfort. You would also see the clock from this angle at least once an episode. They would show the clock, and then it would fade to the Rushes' home. So even though the depot and the clock and that English-style building are still here, the Rushes' new home is not here. In fact, it was never here. It's back in Sausalito. Come on, let's go. We're in a rush. Guys, we made it across the bay to the neighboring town of Sausalito. It's super crowded out here today, and parking, as you can guess, was an absolute nightmare. I had to park about a mile away and huff it out here. We gotta go quick because I'm running out of daylight. Okay, I'm 2 copies deep. Let's keep going. The Rushes' second home is at the top of these stairs. I tried to park next to it, but there was no parking. We're gonna have to huff it up this hill. Oh man, Why are there so many hills? Oh, this is too much climbing for comfort. But the view up here is pretty nice. We made it. That is the Rush's Mill Valley home here in Sausalito. I love that like steeple feature or whatever you call that thing. Really cool. And I want to give a shout out to Lindsay Blake and her website, I Am Not a Stalker. She had all the info on this location. It's a great website, go check it out. I also want to give a big shout out to Darius Witherspoon. He recorded the Too Close for Comfort theme song cover that you're hearing right now. Go check out his channel, Keys with Darius W. But wait, there's more. In season 6, Henry works for the Marin Bugler. He's the assistant editor. But where was the Marin Bugler? In season 6, episode 5, Miss Marin Bugler, the camera is pointed at these buildings. So the Marin Bugler must have been this building. They even used downtown Sausalito for the closing credits. After season 6, actor Ted Knight sadly passed away, closing the series for good. But it will always be remembered as a classic 1980s sitcom. Alright guys, that's going to do it for us on this Too Close for Comfort adventure. I hope you had a good time. If you want to keep me caffeinated, I don't have a Patreon, just hit like. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Why are there so many hills in San Francisco?